let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler.
Here.
Counselor Hochschild.
Here.
Counselor Nelson. Here. Mayor Boucher.
Here. Announcements. Are there any counselors that have any announcements they'd like to make? Holiday season coming. I'd just like to wish everyone happy holidays and stay warm for the winter. Public hearing. We do have a truth and taxation hearing tonight. Mr. Mulder, would you like to start that?
Sure. I have said often that the adoption of the city's budget is one of the most important decisions you make all year. And it is a process that we start back in April and May on a staff level, but we present that information to the city council throughout the year at various points, so that, and then it culminates in this budget booklet and the adopting the tax levy and adopting the budget. Just some very brief high-level overviews of the budget is that for 2023 expenditures are increasing 7.9%. And the thing to remember in the general fund, 92% of the general fund is funded by the levy. So we have very few other sources of revenue that pay for our general fund operations. The levy increase for 2023 is going up by 6.9%, which is below the statewide average of 9.1%. Our tax capacity, our growth in valuation in the city has increased by over 11%. So what that means is the effective tax rate is actually going down 2.6%. So if the value of your home were to stay the same and was not increased through the valuation process and the appraisal process, the assessor's process, you would actually pay less in taxes to the city. Just a couple other interesting facts about Hermantown valuation and its budget is that on page 7, you'll see that the median home value is $288,000. What that means is when we say median, that means half of the homes in Hermantown are valued less than $288,000. Half of them are valued more than $288,000. To be honest, I was a little surprised by that number. I thought it would have been higher. So we often use the valuation of $250,000, which is pretty close to the median, as comparison to what other cities pay and what we look at in terms of what's the impact going to be on the residents. But on a $250,000 home in Hermantown, you will actually pay less taxes for city, school, and county in Hermantown than Proctor, Duluth, Virginia, or Hibbing. So, I mean, there's always this notion that Hermantown is a high tax city, but if you look at the raw numbers and the data, generally that is not true. Our homes tend to be valued higher than other areas, but you know, if you have the same valued home in Hermantown versus one of those other cities, you would actually pay less in taxes. This budget tries to address the city's priorities, continues to go along the lines of the programs of maintaining staffing and funding capital improvements. So we are recommending this budget for you tonight.
Thank you. And after we get done asking counselors for questions and input, we will have a time for public input for members both in the chamber and online, anyone who wishes to speak to the council. Are there any comments from council on our truth and taxation hearing and our 2 proposed resolutions?
Comment would be thanks for the hard work from the city staff. I know there's a lot of work that goes into it, and Kevin keeps us abreast on with his tries to make it fun along the way. So thank you for all of the work.
Yes, I appreciate all the hard work. The sad fact is the demand for city services keeps growing every year. which increases our budget by a little, and staff has done a great job at trying to keep that as small as possible. Is there anyone present, either online or in chambers, that wishes to speak to the council about this? If so, please state your name and address for the record. Is there any public input on the truth in taxation and resolutions 2022-132 and 2022-133? This is the third and final opportunity for public input on the truth and taxation hearing. If anyone wishes to speak to the council, please state your name and address for the record. With no public input, we will move to resolution 2022-132. Resolution adopting the final 2022 property tax levy collectible in 2023 in the amount of $7,606,333. Do we have a motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Counselor Housechild, second by Counselor Geisler. Roll call, please.
Counselor Nelson. Aye. Hochschild.
Aye.
Geisler.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. And next is resolution 2022-133. Resolution adopting the final 2023 city general fund budget in the amount of $7,266,219 and the overall budget of $20,782,027. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Nelson, second by Counselor Housechild. Roll call, please.
Counselor Hochschild.
Aye.
Geisler. Nelson. Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye.
Sorry.
And Mr. Mulder, we have one correspondence listed here. Was it of anything we need to know about?
No, if it's listed, if you want copies of it, we can get it to you.
Okay.
We are actually changing the way we do correspondence, and trying to capture more. The amount of mail we get has gone way down, and because so much is being transferred now via emails. So we are looking at changing the way we handle correspondence to capture those emails in a better way. So.
Thank you. Do we have any department head presentations this evening? With no one stepping forward, this is a time for general public discussion where individuals can ask the council about any item not on the agenda. We ask that you limit your time to 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone either online or in chambers that wishes to address the council about an item not on the agenda or anything in general? Another opportunity for public to discuss items with the council. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to the council at this time? Okay, last opportunity for general public discussion about items not on the agenda. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to the council? We will close the public discussion and move to item 9, the consent agenda, which is the minutes approval or correction of the November 21st, 2022 City Council continuation minutes and accounts payable in the amount of $440,755.91. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Motion by Counselor Geisler, second by Counselor Nelson. Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler. Nelson.
Aye.
Hochschild.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Ordinances, we have a first reading of ordinance 2022-14. City Council of the City of Hermantown does ordain an ordinance adopting amended and restated Title IV of the City of Hermantown City Code Municipal Sales Tax. Our second reading will be in 2 weeks. Is that correct, Mr.
That's
Mulder?
correct.
On the 19th. Next is resolutions. Resolution 2022-134. Resolution creating a bridge replacement priority list and requesting state bridge bonding funding for BR 7724 on Hermantown Road. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Counselor Housechild, second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder?
And just to clarify that, when we talk about, we changed the resolution from just today, from what we had put in the packet, is that we'll be requesting $841,278 for bridge funds, and then the city would pay estimated $173,440. This is to replace the bridge on Hermantown Road, where over the Rocky Run River near the Five Corners intersection. And so this is a request to MnDOT for that state bridge funding.
And that's for planned replacement in 2024.
That's correct.
Any questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on resolution 2022-134? Is there any public input on this resolution? Is there any public input on 2022-134? Roll call, please.
Counselor Nelson.
Aye.
Housechild.
Aye.
Geisler.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2022-135. Resolution approving the final pay request for reconditioning of Highway 53 Water Tower, Water Improvement District number 318 to Osseo Construction Company LLC in the amount of $28,850. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Nelson, second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder?
So this is the final payment for the work that we had done on Highway 53 Water Tower. This closes out the project because we have all the IC 134. So this is the final payment.
Thank you. Is there any questions or comments from council?
That it's a big improvement. It looks good and gets rid of the moldy looking stains that we had on there. It's great.
Is there any public input on resolution 2022-135? Is there any public input on the resolution for the final pay request for Water Improvement District number 318? Last opportunity for public input on this resolution. If anyone wishes to speak to the council, please state your name and address. Roll call, please.
Counselor Housechild.
Aye.
Geisler.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2022-136, resolution authorizing the disposal of surplus city property. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Geisler, second by Counselor Housechild. Mr. Mulder?
So this is for 2 squad cars that will be trading in as part of the purchase of 2 new ones.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on this resolution? Is there any public input on resolution 2022-136? If any member of the public wishes to speak to the council about this resolution, please state your name and address. Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler. Nelson.
Aye.
Housechild.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2022-137. Resolution authorizing the disposal of surplus city property. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Counselor Housechild, second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder?
Again, we're just disposing of a mower that we have had for some time that is not operational anymore. So we want to take that off of our asset list.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Hearing and seeing none, is there any member of the public that wishes to address this item to the council? Is there any public discussion on 2022-137? Is there any public input on the resolution to dispose of surplus property? Roll call, please.
Counselor Nelson,
Aye.
Hochschild,
Aye.
Geisler, Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2022-138. Resolution approving application for new license for charitable gambling by Hermantown Youth Soccer Association for Mackenzie's Bar and Grill. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Nelson, second by Counselor Housechild. Mr. Mulder.
So we were approached by Mackenzie's, who currently have pull tabs with the Hockey Association, and they would like to switch over to the Youth Soccer Association. And all the parties have been informed about that by Mackenzie's.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on this resolution? Are there any public comments on resolution 2022-138? If there is any public input on this resolution, please state your name and address for the record. Roll call, please.
Counselor Hochschild,
Aye.
Geisler, Nelson,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2022-139, resolution approving right of entry agreement for the Hermantown School District. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Motion by Counselor Geisler, second by Counselor Nelson. Mr. Balder.
The school district had requested that the city convey a portion, a part of a parcel joining the wellness center for considerations for their district administration offices. I had conversations with Superintendent Wayne Whitlam about this, is that we can't just convey what they asked for because we have a stormwater pond on the back of that property that needs to stay with the wellness center. And there are some restrictive covenants that we'll have to deal with in terms of selling that property or conveying that property to the school district. But this agreement would allow the school district to fully investigate the possibility of constructing their district offices on that location. And if they do decide to move forward, that the city is saying that we're willing to convey that property to them for that purpose. And again, we'd have to work out some of the details of that because there's some of that land that we would need to keep, but there certainly is some land there that we can convey to them for that purpose.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on this resolution? Is there any public input on resolution 2022-139? Last opportunity for public input on this resolution. If anyone wishes to speak to the council, please state your name and address. Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler, Nelson,
Aye.
Hochschild,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2022-140, resolution authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk to execute and deliver a local government receipt of fund acknowledgement to Enbridge Energy Limited Partnership in the amount of $70,000. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Housechild, second by Counselor Nelson. Mr. Mulder.
So Enbridge is willing to give a grant to the city of $70,000 for the city could use as its match on a project by the South St. Louis Soil and Water Conservation District that they're looking at redoing and replacing the culvert on King Creek right as you enter the park there. The Trout Unlimited and the Conservation District want to upgrade that for trout habitat and stuff like that. The city needs to provide a match. Enbridge has said that they're willing to donate $70,000 toward that project, and this would just be accepting that money.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Mr. Mulder, does this mean a zero cost to the city for this project?
Yes, that would be the case.
Thank you. Is there any public input on resolution 2022-140? Any public input on this resolution? If anyone wishes to address resolution 2022-140, please state your name and address. Roll call, please.
Counselor Nelson. Aye. Counselor Housechild.
Aye.
Counselor Geisler.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2022-141, resolution approving an extension of the preliminary planned unit development plan for the arbors at Maple Grove Development. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Motion by Counselor Geisler, second by Counselor Housechild. Mr. Mulder.
This is to extend a preliminary planned unit development for the arbors, which is the proposed and preliminary approved apartment building just to the east of the Oppidan development that is currently taking place. This was approved by the city council as a preliminary planned unit development. The developer has asked to extend that for 1 year as they're concerned about current cost of building materials and are ready to proceed at this point.
Thank you. Any questions from council or comments? And Mr. Mulder, it's been almost practice to renew all of these for a year when they come due, if they haven't been started. And we generally ask the applicant to restart if they don't make it by the end of the year.
Yeah, typically we've granted these extensions for up to 1 year. And typically after that, we've said, okay, you need to reapply if you haven't proceeded at that point.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Is there any public comment on this resolution? If anyone wishes to comment on this resolution, please state your name and address. Last opportunity for public comment on resolution 2022-141. Roll call, please.
Counselor Housechild.
Aye.
Geisler.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Motion passes. Next is a motion to recess.
So moved.
Motion by Counselor Nelson, second by Counselor Geisler. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. No one wants to stay.